In 2007, a company controlled more than 40% of the global mobile phone market. 5 years later, it reported a net loss of more than 3 billion euros in a single quarter and announced plans to eliminate 10,000 jobs. The distance between those 2 points was crossed by one product the company's leadership publicly dismissed as irrelevant to professional users. Nokia began in 1865 as a Finnish paper mill. By the 1960s, the conglomerate had expanded into rubber boots, cables, and eventually electronics. In 1982, Nokia introduced the Senator, one of Europe's first car phones. The device weighed nearly 10 kilograms. It was not portable in any practical sense, but it represented entry into a market that would reshape the company entirely. The breakthrough came in infrastructure and software, not just hardware. Nokia adopted the GSM standard early, giving it a technical advantage across Europe as countries standardized their networks. By 1998, Nokia had become the world's largest mobile phone manufacturer. The company's Symbian operating system powered millions of devices. Symbian was modular, relatively efficient, and crucially, it allowed third-party developers to write applications. Nokia's phones were not the cheapest, but they were reliable, and the brand became synonymous with mobile communication in markets from Finland to India. The expansion was methodical. Nokia divided its product lines by price and region. High-end models carried advanced features. Entry-level models prioritized durability and battery life. The company opened manufacturing facilities in multiple countries, reducing costs and tariffs. By 2000, Nokia employed more than 55,000 people. Its market capitalization briefly exceeded $200 billion. The company's success was built on vertical integration. Nokia controlled hardware design, operating system development, and supplier relationships. That control delivered consistency, but it also created rigidity. In 2007, Nokia reported revenue of 51 billion euros. The company shipped approximately 436 million devices that year, more than any other manufacturer. Nokia's share of the global mobile phone market stood at roughly 40%. The Nokia brand was valued among the top 5 in the world. In Finland, the company represented a substantial portion of the national economy. Investors treated Nokia as a stable, dominant force in a growing industry. The hidden crack was organizational. Nokia's operating system, Symbian, had been designed in the 1990s for devices with physical keyboards and limited processing power. The architecture was not modular in the way modern platforms would become. Adding features required deep integration across the system, and testing cycles were long. By the mid-2000s, Nokia's software development process involved multiple teams across different countries, each with approval authority. A single feature could require sign-off from hardware engineers, network specialists, regional marketing divisions, and carrier partners. The company's strength in hardware had not translated into software agility. In January 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. Nokia's leadership reviewed the device and issued internal and public assessments. The iPhone had no physical keyboard. It was expensive. Battery life was limited. It required a data plan. The touchscreen was novel, but Symbian devices had used touchscreens before. Crucially, the iPhone was positioned as a consumer entertainment device, not a tool for business users. Nokia's executives believed their enterprise customers, who valued email, calendar integration, and long battery life, would not switch to a product optimized for media consumption. That belief was rooted in years of customer feedback. It was not irrational, but it was incomplete. The decision Nokia made was to accelerate its existing roadmap rather than redesign its platform. The company increased investment in Symbian and began work on a touchscreen interface. In 2008, Nokia acquired Symbian outright, intending to make the operating system open source and more competitive. The company also launched the OV Store, an application marketplace meant to rival Apple's App Store. These were rational responses, but they were sequential improvements to an aging architecture. Apple's iOS and Google's Android, which launched in 2008, were built on different assumptions. They treated the phone as a general-purpose computing platform. Applications ran in isolated environments. Updates could be pushed without carrier approval. Developers could publish software without negotiating with the device manufacturer. By 2009, Nokia's market share in smartphones had begun to erode. The company still led in total device shipments, but the high-margin smartphone segment was shifting. The iPhone captured the premium market. Android devices, offered by multiple manufacturers at various price points, captured the middle. Symbian's user interface felt dated. The operating system struggled with multitasking and touchscreen responsiveness. Developers increasingly prioritized iOS and Android, leaving Symbian with fewer applications. Nokia's hardware remained competitive, but the software experience lagged. In 2010, Nokia's smartphone market share fell below 30%. The company's stock price declined. In September 2010, Nokia's CEO stepped down. The board appointed Elop, a Microsoft executive, as his replacement. Elop was the first non-Finnish CEO in Nokia's history. In February 2011, Elop sent an internal memo describing Nokia as a burning platform. The memo leaked. It compared the company to a man on an oil rig, forced to choose between certain death by fire or a dangerous jump into the sea. The metaphor was dramatic, but it reflected a genuine crisis. Symbian was no longer competitive. Nokia's attempt to build a new operating system, MeeGo, was years from completion. The company needed a software partner. Nokia chose Microsoft. In February 2011, the two companies announced a partnership. Nokia would adopt Windows Phone as its primary smartphone platform. The decision was controversial. Windows Phone had minimal market share. Developers had not embraced it. Some analysts argued Nokia should have chosen Android, which was gaining momentum. Nokia's leadership believed Android would reduce the company to a hardware commodity, competing on price with dozens of other manufacturers. Windows Phone offered differentiation and financial support from Microsoft. The logic was defensible, but the execution required speed Nokia no longer possessed. The first Nokia Windows Phone device, the Lumia 800, launched in November 2011. Reviews praised the hardware and design. The operating system was smooth, but the app ecosystem remained sparse. By then, iOS and Android had established network effects. Developers built for those platforms first. Consumers chose phones based on available applications. Nokia's sales continued to decline. In the second quarter of 2012, Nokia reported a net loss of 1.7 billion euros. The company announced it would cut 10,000 jobs. In the third quarter of 2012, Nokia's net loss exceeded 3 billion euros. The company's smartphone market share had fallen to single digits. In September 2013, Microsoft announced it would acquire Nokia's Devices and Services division for $7.2 billion. The deal closed in April 2014. Nokia retained its network infrastructure business, its mapping division, and its patent portfolio. The Nokia brand, as it related to mobile phones, was licensed to Microsoft. Elop joined Microsoft as part of the acquisition. In 2015, Microsoft wrote down the value of the Nokia acquisition by $7.6 billion. In 2016, Microsoft sold the Nokia feature phone business to Foxconn and sold the Nokia smartphone brand rights to HMD Global, a Finnish company founded by former Nokia executives. The people involved dispersed. Thousands of Nokia employees lost their jobs in Finland and globally. Some joined startups. Others moved to competitors. The Finnish economy felt the loss acutely. Nokia's network business, later renamed Nokia Solutions and Networks and then simply Nokia Corporation, survived and eventually stabilized. HMD Global began releasing Nokia-branded Android phones in 2017, leveraging the brand's residual reputation for durability. The devices found modest success in emerging markets, but Nokia never regained its former dominance. The lesson is not that Nokia failed to predict the iPhone. The lesson is that Nokia operated within constraints that made rapid platform transformation nearly impossible. The company's software was coupled too tightly to its hardware. Its development process required too many approvals. Its customer relationships, particularly with carriers, limited its ability to push updates. Its leadership interpreted the iPhone through the lens of existing user needs, which were real but incomplete. The market did not abandon Nokia because the company built bad phones. It abandoned Nokia because the phone became something else entirely, and Nokia's accumulated advantages in the old category became structural disadvantages in the new one. Dominance in a stable market can become paralysis when the market's definition changes.